Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the 2020 Maserati Quattroporte. This is the S model, and it is all-wheel drive, giving it the Q4 suffix on its name there. So we go around and kind of see what this car is worth here in 2020. Maserati claims it's worth about $127,000 for this specific one. And that's up for you guys, the viewer, to decide, and I suppose myself somewhat as well. I do have to say, I was a bit, I'll go as far as to say excited when we booked a Maserati. Maseratis were always kind of a young Charlie's pleasure. You know, like I was always into them. There's something about a Maserati. I don't know, it was different. It was unique, it was special, it was kind of exotic while still being, like, attainable, maybe? I don't know. So, I was really excited to get the car, booked it, showed up, and it is pretty, but it's a bit subtle as well. Alyssa pointed out, she's like, that's a Maserati? It just looks like a normal sedan. And in some ways, she's right. Looking at it from this angle, it'd be hard to differentiate it from a lot of other cars. But you do have some nice accents like this clear portion here, and the rear light looks nice. Got these good dual quad exhausts, actually. Are they real? It looks like they are. Yep, they actually go back to exhaust pipes. They're not just bumper tips. I do love the Maserati logo and back here. All the lettering. Looks nice. Looks good in that font. Pop open the trunk. Average size executive sedan trunk. You do have this very interesting inflatable compact spare here. Saves a little bit of room, I suppose. And some solid tie-down hooks. Metal. Little rack as well, and a 12-volt outlet. This is powered. No surprise. I'd actually be surprised if it weren't here at this price point. Capless fuel filler, and surprisingly, oh no, there we go, premium high-octane fuel. Doesn't give a specific octane, but does say premium. There's obviously a bunch to talk about here in the back seat of the QP. Got your soft closed doors there, bringing the door in to me. Pretty decently comfortable back seats, although definitely not the most comfortable of any large sedan that I've sat in. The headrests don't have any sort of pillow top. They're pretty straightforward fare. The seats are actually kind of firm, but I think they're shaped pretty well, so the firmness isn't going to result in long road trip discomfort, I would not think, from back here. Pretty standard fare, though. Not a whole lot of foot room, no sort of footrests or anything. The seat does recline. That's about it. Back here you do have rear sunshade adjustment as well as side sunshade adjustment. Heated and cooled seats. Climate control on both sides, which is an option. Some remarkably small cup holders. Some storage down there. That looks like it should open, but I don't think it does. I think it's just a plastic piece. Then in here you've got two ashtrays. Not just one, two, count them. And a little cigarette lighter as well. Other than that, that's about it. You don't really have any audio controls or anything like that back here, so that's a bit of a disappointment. No vanity mirrors either, although it is a nice Alcantara headliner. Okay, good. Solid metal feeling door openers right there. Nice to see. Cool dual pane pillarless windows as well. Yes, shut for me. Do my work. Cabin feels nice. Definitely doesn't feel $100,000 nice, but there are some really good materials. I like right here, it might be kind of hard to see better this side. There's an unbroken piece of wood going all the way around the steering wheel, just with a little ridge in the bottom in order for it to come together. So that's kind of cool. We have some unique audio inputs here. If you want to see a full review on the Bowers & Wilkins 15-speaker audio system here in the Quattroporte, check out the link in the description to that. It's quite good. Let's close that, though. It says real wood here, although kind of feels a little plasticky and looks plasticky. It's very shiny, although they say it's real open pore wood, so tempted to believe them. A little bit of a storage container here, as well as a surprisingly small center console area. I don't even know, you can't even fit a phone in here, so not exactly sure what's supposed to reside in here, but it's there. Manual glove box, very nice leather on the manual holder right there. Little Quattroporte logo. Other than that, it's pretty standard fare, free of many gimmicks here. Have a nice smell, not a strong or overbearing smell or anything. Now this Quattroporte is powered by a Ferrari-built 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6 motor, putting out 424 horsepower, something like that in torque as well, just over 400 pound-feet of torque, mated to the excellent ZF 8-speed transmission. You've got Chrysler's Uconnect here, just reskinned as Maserati Touch Control Plus. It works really, really well. There's no complaints about the system, even if it is shared with a lot of its corporate counterparts. I should say corporate cousins. The shifter is a little strange, though. It's kind of, I mean, it's not a bad feel. It's just, it seems a little cheaper than a lot of the Quattroporte's competition. But this button layout is nice, so that's cool. Shift into drive. Power adjustable steering column, as I would hope at this price point. I do really, really like, let's take a quick pause here. These shifters right here are real metal, and they sound and feel so nice. Not only that, they stay in the same position. So you'll see when we're out on the road, I can be going around a corner and know exactly where they are at all times, and always know upshift is on the right, downshift is on the left. So I've driven my share of large luxury sedans. Admittedly, it's been a pretty long time since I've been behind the wheel of an S-Class. And then with the new one coming out, there's no current generation S-Classes in the press fleet, so we'll have to be waiting a little bit for one of those. But let's just get it out of the way right now. The Quattroporte is no S-Class. The S-Class is the leader in this class. I guess it's appropriately named. But the Quattroporte does provide a different take and a little bit more of an exotic, or at least unique and original car at this price point and this size. So, whether that's a good or a bad thing, it's up for you, the shopper, to decide. Or more likely, just you, the Thunder Thumb comment warrior, who's going to tell me why I'm wrong in this review. Now, I've spent a decent amount of time in the Quattroporte, driving it around, and I was definitely ready to bash it. And admittedly, there are a lot of things that the Quattroporte falters on that some of its competition just do so much better, and often at a lower price. I mean, if I were actually genuinely looking for a car, a new vehicle in this class, there's only two options for me. It's either a Mercedes S-Class or a Genesis G90. It's pretty much, do you want to spend more money and get the best, or do you want to save a lot of money and still get quite a good product? And there you go. Those are the two main leaders. But if looks are a little more important to you, for some reason you just have an affinity for an Italian car, and you need this class of vehicle or want this class of vehicle, okay, there are some legitimate reasons that you could pick the Quattroporte, and I'll try to get those over to you here in the next 10 minutes or so. The steering is really, really good. It blows any new BMW steering out of the water. You'll hear a lot of new reviewers complain about newer electric power steering, how it's just devoid of feel. A lot of the new BMWs, it just kind of feels like mushy. There's not a lot of communication between what you're doing with your hands and what's going through to the car, and kind of the feedback you get back from it. That's not really the case for this car, and that's surprising for how large and heavy it is. But here's sport mode. Plowed into this corner here on its Pirelli P0. No, are they, actually I think they're Michelin Sport 4S's. I gotta check. I've driven too many cars. the steering actually has, it's got a really good feel to it. It's positive feedback, well weighted. And I'm actually, the more I drive this car, the more I'm impressed with the feel of the chassis, the responsiveness of the engine and transmission, and the steering. It's a positive experience. There are definitely other large vehicles like this that cannot hustle the way the Quattroporte can. One of the biggest letdowns, unfortunately, is the turbo lag on this engine. So I'm just gonna be in, where are we at? We're gonna be in drive, sport mode. I'm gonna coast along here, slow down a bit. We're probably in 8th gear at this point. Oh, 5th. Well, we'll just go to whatever wants us to be in a drive. So I guess 5th gear. And I'm gonna mat the throttle now. So it took a little while to downshift, and then it really wasn't too bad. I think it's more from a stop. So we're still in sport mode. I cruise about 10 miles per hour, now floor it. So it took a lot of time there for the engine to build up, kind of figure out, oh, he wants to go fast now. And then even when it does surge up with power, it doesn't feel like it's 424 horsepower. I'd really, really like to drive the GTS model. Get that 3.8 liter Ferrari V8 and feel how hard that pulls. So this is a lively engine. It's a pleasure to drive around, but I just feel like it's the turbo lag is a little unexcusable at this price point. Oh boy, are we gonna get an empty on-ramp? Looks like we might. Oh yeah, baby. Let's go. Give me that green. Ooh-wee. Lots of grip in this car. Even with all-season tires, it's pretty planted. Not bad, Maserati. We're in a normal mode here, normal suspension. Set the cruise at 70. Do have standard adaptive cruise control here, as well as, from what I've experienced, Chrysler's first active lane keeping function. However, it's not very good, and it's also incredibly annoying, which I'll show you right now. So I'm just driving along, hands are on the wheel. We got green lit up there to show me that it's actively steering for us. Now, take hands off the wheel. We're already at yellow. Now we're already at red yelling at us. And now, loud noise, and the car is not steering anymore. So yeah, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel, I get it. But sometimes you're just driving along casually, kind of got one hand on the wheel, sort of, and it freaks out. So it's just not a very usable system compared to those from Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, Cadillac. So I don't know if Maserati's just behind or if they're just picking a little bit more of a conservative approach. Other than that, the Quattroporte is not quite as quiet as you'd expect on the highway either. That was a particularly loud section of highway back there, but even on quieter parts, like during our sound test video, it's just, there's more road noise than I'd expect, a tad bit of wind noise, not too bad though, and then a little bit of engine drone from this exhaust. I want to go back around this way. I'm going to go over these bumps with the suspension in normal mode, and it is remarkable how well it takes these. For a car that can be as sporty as this is, it actually rides decently well as well. You definitely feel more of the bumps than you'd expect from a Luxo barge, but none of them are harsh, so it's something. Oh, gutless until it downshifts. Let's do a 60 mile per hour braking test here. Oh very quick, very planted as well. Now let's do traction control off. Sport, brake, air conditioning off. Nothing super remarkable, but it gets up and goes. Gosh, guys, if every automatic car had a ZF 8-speed, the world would be a better place. One last drive mode you have in the QP is ICE. No, that doesn't stand for ICE T mode, or internal combustion engine mode, or immigration's customs enforcement mode. No, it's increased control and efficiency, which you can see on the dash right there when you select it. What that does is it delays throttle response a little bit, makes the inputs just a little more filtered, a little more reserved. It's supposed to encourage better fuel economy and a smoother driving experience. If you're chauffeuring someone or just maybe putzing down the highway, you might select this mode. Just have a little bit of that edge taken off your driving. So I've got to say, spending more and more time with the Quattroporte, I have warmed up to it a little bit. It's it kind of went from being excited to disappointed to now I've come to grips with it. It's a fine car. It's just too expensive, and if you want any sort of those gimmicks and quirks and stuff that sets a modern luxury car apart from the competition here in 2020, unfortunately you're just not going to find that here in the Quattroporte. But if you're made of money and you really want this car and it's not going to break the bank for you, you don't care how much it costs, maybe you get an awesome lease deal on it, it's cool, it's different. I would also recommend it much more to someone who wants a car of this size to drive rather than just be chauffeured around in. And I'd be pretty interested in checking out the GTS version because the chassis and the steering and the suspension really are quite good in this car. So I think just lending itself a bit more sporty and having more power to back it up, that's probably a winning formula right there, or at least a better formula. So, let's check out the backup camera. You can see we've got a 360 top-down superposed, as well as pretty decent rear-facing camera, a few different modes, front as well, sides, you can probably, no, it doesn't look like you can click around for sort of a curb view as you can with some of these systems. Let's shut her down with its left side engine start button there. You do have an oddly deep compartment right here. It goes way, way back. Look at that. Look how far I can stick almost my entire forearm in there. That's kind of weird. Take a look at this Ferrari-built V6. You can tell there's plenty of room in there for the 3.8 liter Ferrari V8 in the GTS model, but it looks nice. An interesting car and definitely a memorable experience for a weird car here in 2020. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see a little bit more on the Quattroporte, check out the link in the description for our sound system review. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button, helps us out a bunch. Maybe check out some of the other videos we've got. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and we'll see you on the next one. And as always, drive on.